Welcome to the Flooring 101 podcast. This show is dedicated to helping flooring retailers build better businesses through proven systems for sales, operations, marketing, and leadership. In this episode of Flooring 101, we discuss mastering retail sales, the showroom selling system, and specifically how to design a high converting showroom. Thanks for listening, and let's dive into today's episode. Hey, welcome to another edition of the Flooring 101 podcast. I'm your host, Jason Jabara, and I've spent the last 25 years in the retail flooring business, the last 10 as CEO of Jabara's Carpet Outlet, located in Wichita, Kansas. We are a single store operation, but are one of the largest independent retailers in the United States, and I'd like to welcome you to our Flooring 101 podcast. If you are in the retail flooring business and you're experiencing issues or are thinking about getting into the retail flooring business, then this is the podcast for you. And as always, it is completely free wherever you get your podcasts at. So for the first 10 episodes of our podcast, we talked a lot about the flooring blueprint. And at the end of that journey, we had given you a 90-day roadmap on how to launch your own flooring business. And if you already have a flooring business, hopefully we were able to give you some new twists and tips and tricks that you can apply in your store to make it the best retail flooring store that you can. We've celebrated our 10th episode. We've talked about some of the ancillary benefits of different industry partnerships, and we've went one-on-one with some very successful leaders in the flooring industry like Reagan Eccles at IQ Floors in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Mark Carr of Color Interiors in Conroe, Texas. So I hope you liked our last one, our one-on-one, because we'll be having more guest stars pop up from time to time to let you know what makes their business unique and what they're doing to be successful in the retail flooring space. But now we're moving from starting your store and into launching your store into running your store. The day-to-day tasks that will ensure your success on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. Before our last episode with Mark Carr, we started talking about mastering retail sales and the showroom selling system. And specifically, we talked about the modern flooring buyer. Today, we'll be diving even further into mastering retail sales with ideas on how to design a high converting showroom, because that transformation that we want to take place through this entire series of mastering retail sales is we want you to go from maybe inconsistent sales. The transformation that we want you to have is so that by the end of this, you will have a predictable closing process. So despite the high converting showroom and designing that high converting showroom will allow you and your team to create consistent sales and do a better job at predicting your close rates, which brings you and your team one step closer to mastering retail sales in the flooring space. Now, at the end of this podcast, please let us know what you liked and what questions you might have. We'd love to hear feedback from you. Remember, you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast locations, as well as on Substack, Reddit, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram under the Flooring 101 banner. And if you are listening to us on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can also go to our YouTube page at Flooring 101, and you can see all of our, both the videos and the audios from all of our podcasts are on our YouTube channel at Flooring 101 as well. Plus, if you want to get some real one-on-one and really dive into bettering your business, you can go to jasonjabara.com. That's JASONJABARA.com, and you can book a free call with me. I'd love to get on the phone with you. I'd love hearing about other businesses and what makes them tick. I'd love to hear about your business and maybe discuss some of the issues that you're facing or some of the rocks and challenges that you're facing in your business, and see if there's anything at Flooring 101 we can do to help you out to try and crush down those rocks and achieve the goals that you want to achieve with your retail flooring business. And if you're thinking about getting into the retail flooring business and haven't done so yet, I'd be happy to jump on a call with you and answer any questions that I might be able to answer for you and see if it's the right thing for you, see if you've gotten on the right track. Again, I'd go back and listen to the first probably 10 episodes of the podcast about what it really takes to open up a retail flooring store, the steps that you need to have in place and the steps that you need to make to open that retail flooring store. And remember that 10th episode, we give you that 90-day blueprint on the exact steps on what you're going to need to do to open up your store in a 90-day period. So, if you stick with us long enough, you're going to learn how to start, run, and scale a profitable flooring business through some proven systems for sales, operations, and marketing. So let's get into it. Today we're talking about mastering retail sales and specifically designing a high-converting showroom. And a high-converting showroom is not, built for just display purposes, just the visual of it. It is built, that showroom is built for decision making, for the decisions that your customer has to purchase new flooring should be done in your showroom, at least under the models that we're putting forth. There are other different business models out there. We're talking about brick and mortar stores where we're going to be closing these deals in our showroom. So you need to make sure that every single square foot of your showroom is guiding the customer through a very clear and intentional journey from the point at which they enter into your store until they make that final purchase. And it should start in your parking lot when they pull in. You need to be very clear and intentional in what you're doing and how you're designing that showroom so that they're going to be making that purchase and you've closed that deal before they leave there. So traffic flow is kind of the foundation of this experience. When a customer walks in, they should naturally kind of be led through some key product categories in a sequence that builds confidence in their decision-making process and not confusion. Strategic placement of displays and clear pathways and a logical progression, that's going to help control the interaction with your customer without feeling forced, like you're not, jamming it down your throat. So, a well-designed showroom doesn't just look good. Because we all want to have beautiful showrooms. We want to have beautiful fixtures and nice displays and the most up-to-date things. But it doesn't mean just looking good, because what we really want it to do is it's going to direct, at least quietly, it's going to direct behavior. And that's going to make it easier for customers to kind of move forward in the buying process. And your display strategy is going to play a critical role in maintaining clarity for the customer and for the process in which you're pushing them through. So, one of the biggest mistakes that I think flooring retailers make is trying to show too much. If you go back and listen to the episode when we talked to Reagan Eccles at IQ Floors, he really believes in, the 80-20 principle, and that's that 80% of your sales are going to come from 20% of your displays. And he took it even a step further, that probably 95% of your sales are actually only going to come from 5% of your displays. And, often as retailers, you're going to get bombarded by manufacturing reps and distributors if you're opening up a new store, because everybody's going to want to have their stuff inside your store. They're going to want to have their newest things. They're going to want to have their carpet, their wood, their laminate. Shaw wants all their stuff in there. Mohawk, Engineer Floors, your distributors, whoever it is, they want to try and get all of their product into your store. But you need to make sure, and we talked about this in one of the earlier podcast episodes, that you don't put too much in there, because overwhelming a potential customer it's going to kill that conversation because they don't even know what they're doing at that point. There's so much carpet, there's so much wood, there's so much vinyl tile. It's overwhelming to them when they come into your store. And when customers are faced with endless options, they're going to hesitate and they're going to second guess. And often they're going to leave without even making a decision. What I would do instead is, a successful showroom is going to focus on those curated selections that represent the best options that you have in each category. Some of you may just have a flooring store and you may not offer a hard surface. Some of you may have hard surface and you don't offer flooring, or you may just be a wood store, or you may just be a tile store. And that's great. Even in those instances and those cases, you still don't want to have every single provider of wood flooring in the United States. That's going to be way too much. So you want to make sure that the vendors that you choose to work with, the manufacturers that you choose to show, the reps whose displays you allow in your showroom, that they are a representation of your goal as a company and your stance as a company, and that they're the best options for what you believe is your customer in each category. So kind of, think of it a little bit like Goldilocks. You don't want to have too much, but you don't want to have too little. You want to have just the right amount. And depending on the size of your showroom, depending on the area of the country you're in, depending on the customer that you're going after, all of those things are going to be different. But you need to make sure that you are thinking about that stuff ahead of time and keeping those things in mind when you're designing your showroom setup and designing where you're placing your fixtures and how you're doing it. Because you can organize it in a lot of different ways. A traditional setup would just be putting all the carpet together and then putting all the Shaw with Shaw and the Mohawk with Mohawk and the engineered floors with engineered floors and not mixing them up. And then you've got your section of hardwood and laminate and vinyl plank, and each one of them have their different displays. And that's fine. That's a traditional setup. I think some retailers that are having a lot of success are thinking outside of the box. So, you may walk into a store and that particular store has decided not to use the manufacturer's displays. You'll see this a lot in hardwood or tile sales, and they're simply displaying the wood options that they have or the tile options that they have in a very curated way without all the extra signage for the manufacturers and things like that. So instead of just displaying by product category, you could organize your displays by lifestyle, such as durability for families, or all of your waterproof solutions are together, or your premium design products are all together. And if you organize the displays by lifestyle, or if you organize your products by lifestyle, now you can group, say, your waterproof solutions. You can put your waterproof carpet options with your waterproof vinyl plank, with your waterproof wood, with your waterproof laminate. And now you've got if that is the customer's biggest concern, you have all of those products together. Or if their biggest concern is durability, you can put together your most durable carpets, woods, laminates, vinyl planks, put those products together. So, instead of organizing by manufacturer or product code, try thinking of it as lifestyle. And what that'll do is that's going to help the customer connect to certain products because they're going to have real world needs of what is most important to them. And if you can group your materials that way, it's a much easier sell, because this approach will shift the conversation from all of the technical features that we get into the weeds about. I'll have a customer come in and they'll ask me about twist and gauge rates, and I know they're in there. I can go into the product catalogs and find that and find the manufacturer's specs, but I've never sold a piece of carpet in my life based on its gauge and twist rate. So, if you have all the carpets together and they're just divided by manufacturer, you're going to get into a lot of the technical stuff that you probably don't need to. And if you organize them by lifestyles, you're going to be talking about some practical outcomes, and that's going to make the decisions for the customer feel easier and more relevant to their needs. So that's something you might keep in mind. Like I said, there's no exact way on how you should organize your showroom, but make sure that you are doing it with intent and not trying to show too much, because if you've got everything from everybody, it's going to be too much, and they're going to start second guessing themselves, and they're just going to leave your store because there's too much. Another thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure that you have a guided selling layout, with intent, is going to reinforce this structure by intentionally presenting options in a way that supports both the customer and your business. So the good, better, best framework is probably one of the most effective tools for doing this, because by visually grouping products into clear tiers, here's our good, here's our better, here's our best, you can create some natural anchors that help customers compare value instead of just price. So, starting with your premium options really sets a reference point. Making some mid-tier products feels like a smart, balanced choice. And this structure not only increases your average ticket size, but it also protects your margins by reducing the need for discounting products. You've already given them the options by the price point, good, better, best, whether it's in carpet or vinyl or hardwood. And when you do it correctly, customers are going to really feel in control of their decision. Even though the path to that decision making has been carefully designed by you by giving them this good, better, best format. And so within your organization of your displays, in that path that is very distinct and done with purpose, having a good, better, best framework for each of your areas. So in your waterproof area, you'll have a good, better, best. In your premium design looks, you'll have a good, better, best. That gives them control over the decisions they're making, even though you were the one who designed it all. So that's another thing I'd probably keep in mind. And then finally, creating some decision zones within the showroom kind of brings everything together. And these are going to be designated areas in your showroom where customers can sit down, relax a little bit, review their options, and then at that point they can move toward a final choice, with guidance from you and your team. So instead of wandering through the displays aimlessly and picking up sample boards all over the place and getting them all over the floor, these customers transition into a focused area where you can have a conversation that is going to drive the action that's going to get you to close that sale. So each zone should support clarity, limited options, clear pricing structure, and a confident next step. So a high converting showroom is not about having the most products. It's about creating an environment where customers can quickly and confidently say yes to the products that you are presenting them, because it is in a manicured, curated, easy to follow format for both you and your customers. So all your stores are going to be different. My store is going to be different than yours, and my store is different from Mark's and from Reagan's and for other friends that I have in the flooring industry. But here's a couple bullet points if you're trying to figure out what's the best size and how should I break it down. The ideal showroom size is usually going to be between that 1,500 and 3,000 square feet. That's going to depend on the area of the country you're in, the density and saturation of your market, how many stores are around you, what is available to buy versus lease, all that stuff we talked about in that original blueprint. So you should have already chosen the area that your showroom is going to be in. So 1,500 to 3,000 square feet, I'd probably dedicate 10 to 15% of that to your entrance area and welcome area. depending on how your showroom is set up. 40 to 50% of that should be your lifestyle zones. And this is where your displays are going to be at. So, whether it's the traditional carpets here, vinyls here, luxury plank, wood, laminate, whether you have it set up like that or whether you've created some lifestyle zones, your premium area, your waterproof area, your just your workhorse products, about 40 to 50% of your showroom should be with the products. And then I'd probably have 20 to 25% of that showcasing your good, better, best displays. So your good, better, best carpet, good, better, best wood, so that they can see. So you've got all these materials in these lifestyle zones, and now you've curated them and funneled them into your good, better, best. And then 10 to 15%, have that area off to the side. A couple nice tables, a couple nice chairs. Maybe you've got some snacks and waters and things that you can give to your customers, but have that designated closing area where you can get away from all the displays. You can get away from all the pricing so they can really buckle down, feel comfortable. If that is, if you've got 3 RSAs in your showroom, if that's your desk areas where you're going to do your closing at, make sure that your desks are clear and that they're kept neat and that they're organized and that they are a reflection of the business as a whole and not just a reflection of the RSA. But it needs to be an area where they feel comfortable enough that they can make the final decision so that you can close that in the store. And then the last 10 to 20%, you're going to have some storage and back room area where you can keep additional samples or extra checkout samples. Maybe you have a break room or a back office, something like that. Something that is not open to the public and visually open to the public where, if you've got to get off the floor or, one of your other RSAs has to take a break, you want to make sure that you're doing that out of the view of the customers. So you need to have some kind of storage or back room. And all of this, the welcome area, lifestyle zones, good, better, best displays, closing area, your storage back room area, this would all be outside of any of your warehouse area. So if you've got a 1,500 to 3,000 square foot showroom, you may need another 1,000 to 3,000 foot showroom, depending on your business model, depending on if you're stocking products or not stocking, or it's all cash on delivery and all orderable products, depending on what your business model is. But that area, the area where you're receiving materials, checking stuff in, if it's a warehouse area, you want to make sure you're keeping that out of the sight of the customer. So that the focus can be on the products that they're looking at and the focus can be on their needs and they don't have to visually see all the other stuff that's out there. So, remember designing that high converting showroom. We're talking about traffic flow, display strategy, that guided selling layout. That traffic flow is going to guide the decision making. Make sure you avoid overwhelming displays and too many displays. Try organizing by lifestyle, not just by product. Have that good, better, best visual structuring so they can see that process, and then try and create some decision zones inside your store, whether that's a nice sit down couch and table area where they can really focus on their products, especially if you set up your business on your ERP systems or your POS systems where you can use tablets. Having some nice recliners or couches with tables in there is a really great way to close. It's inviting, it's comfortable, it's warm. It's like you're in their home, but they're in your home. So that's a really nice way to do it. If you don't have that option and you're doing it at a desk of an RSA and they have their own space areas, make sure those areas are clean, inviting, warm, and reflective of your business as a whole. So, if you could do all this, if you can design your showroom with purpose, you're going to be able to leverage your ability to better convert your leads that you're giving to your sales staff or the leads that you're taking yourself. You're going to be able to better convert those leads into sales in the store, and you're that much closer to mastering the retail sales process. And I know you have it in you, and you should be able to do it. So That's all that we have for today. Please let me know what you liked and what questions you might have. Remember, you can follow us on all of your favorite podcast locations, as well as Substack, Reddit, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Everything's under the Flooring 101 banner. Please go check out our YouTube page, Flooring 101. We'd love to get your feedback on any of the stuff that's out there that we continue to point out. And as I said before, if you want to really have some one-on-one time with me and dive into your business, you can go to jasonjabara.com and book a call. Like I said, I always love talking to dealers across the country. If you're thinking about getting into the industry and you're trying to get through that 90-day process and you're still having some issues on what you need to be doing and you've got some questions on where to go, I can't give you every answer, and I'm not even saying that I'm going to give you the right answer, but I can certainly give you a answer. And something that has either worked for me or something that I know has worked for other dealers in the country, and we can see if it works for you. So until next time, thanks for tuning in. I think our next episode will probably have another one-on-one with another retailer across the country. But if we're not, our next podcast entry, we will be discussing the 5-step retail flooring sales process. So you don't want to miss that. Till we meet again, I'm Jason Jabbar, and continue to build a better business. Thank you for listening to the Flooring 101 podcast. If you found value in today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with another flooring professional who could benefit from it. Remember, great flooring businesses aren't built by chance. They're built through systems, leadership, and consistent execution. Until next time, keep learning, keep improving, and keep building a better flooring business.